Hello, good evening. The Blandford consensus. Well, all will be revealed. Some time ago, I was invited to a party, and it sticks in my memory because it happens so frequently, even without a pandemic. And I know I went to it. Definitely was a party. I was there for longer than 9 minutes, so it definitely was a party. I'm not trying to claim otherwise. And it was no ordinary party. If you can imagine this, it was the kind of party where you have to wear the clothes of another character, if you can imagine such a thing. I was assigned a sort of identity. I had to go as a detective from the 1930s. So in my world, fancy dress is basically wearing my normal clothes, which is like this coat here. Funny how you go through phases. I've stopped wearing that hat. I don't really like it anymore. In fact, I'm quite embarrassed to see it now. So my journalist outfit consisted of a little card saying press, which was not an instruction, but an indication that I was one of the Fourth Estate. Is it the Fourth Estate? And I thought, I need a prop to really communicate the idea that I'm a journalist from the 1930s. I need, what could be better than one of those old cameras? So I thought, where can I find such a thing? Teddy Tinker's marvellous emporia of this and that, and I did indeed find an old Box Brownie camera. I thought this is absolutely perfect. Now, you young people won't know what this is. This is instead of your phones, you young people, in the old days we used to have to put film into a box, and this is the very camera, by the way. It's a smaller version than the one on screen. That's the big version. You put film in it, you pressed a button, and light particles glued themselves to the film, and you had to take it somewhere, and it got processed and turned into pictures. Amazing. So I got my camera, my prop, and the guy at the counter said, "Oh, if you look at the back, see this little red hole there, there's actually a film still inside. Who knows how long it's been there? Maybe you should get it developed." I thought, wow, okay, that's quite interesting. But how does one do that in this day and age? Do you take it to a wizard or something? I mean, how on earth do you change this matter into a picture? So I did some research on the internet, and I thought perhaps I could do this myself. And then after a while I realised that the idea of me with toxic, flammable chemicals in a dark room was not a great idea. So I thought, well, perhaps I can get somebody else to do it for me. And the solution presents itself. I was walking down the seafront, Marriott's photo shop. I'd literally walked past the shop maybe 100 times, and just never occurred to me. You just don't see things, and I was looking for them. So it's like a magic shop. And I went inside, and sure enough, there was a wizard. And he said, "Oh, well, this film's been in this camera for like many years, probably many decades. I don't really think anything will come out. But you're willing to try, just so long as it's understood that you'll have to pay me whatever turns out." He was quite insistent on that point. I said, "Well, okay, whatever, And he said, "Well, okay, just don't get your hopes up, and you still have to pay me." I was like, okay, I won't get my hopes up. And this is me not getting my hopes up, an actual picture of me patiently waiting for my film to be developed, and there it is. So these are old films, so they're not normal size, and you only get 7 exposures, not the standard 1 billion which come on my phone. So out of 7, how many survived? I mean, we're talking about maybe 5 decades. So photo 1, nothing, a little bit disappointing. Photo 2, nada. Again, a little bit disappointing. You can imagine the dog getting a bit deflated. Photo 3 out of 7, rien. That means nothing in French. I'm such a polyglot, it's amazing. Photo 4, zilch. I mean, I'm scraping the barrel now for my languages. I don't even know if that really means nothing, or you hear people say it, don't you? Photo 5, nada. That's this time Spanish, the previous time's Portuguese. So other languages. Photo 6, by this time I'm getting a bit numbed. Oh my word. Dinosaurs. That's or no, ghost horses or something. Well, what a magical moment. I mean, it really was, I heard this sort of sound there. It was really quite magical to think that this image had been trapped inside his camera for all this time. And I was the one to liberate it from its prison. And yes, horses. So that was quite amazing. Of course, there was a photo. That really would have been taking the piss, wouldn't it, to get you all here? And then telling the story about how I didn't get any photos developed. I mean, even I wouldn't try that. So, photo 7. Oh my word. Nuclear explosion. Well, okay. How could it be? Could it be, taking a bomb test or something? This was the precise moment that I realised that I need these. Because on closer inspection, disappointingly not a nuclear explosion, and turning it on its side, not a nuclear explosion in fact, but an idyllic country scene. Now, I'm no Professor Brian Cox, but, I reckon that actually the scientific opposite of a nuclear explosion is actually an idyllic country scene. But anyway, so quite amazing. So 2 photos out of 7. Again, I mean, they're black and white, and they look old, don't they? And you can see that they've been degraded, and who knows how much longer they would have lasted before they finally decayed completely. So I'm not saying it's a religious experience for me, but religion. It's Jesus who gave the long weekend for us, yes. But I was looking at the etymology of the word religion. It means to reconnect. So like a ligament, religion, it's the same root. And in a way, this helped me reconnect with the magic of photography. You go on holiday or go travelling, you take 100 photos, and you can see them immediately on your phone, and you're actually bored of the place you're visiting before you've even left it, because you've looked at your phone so often. And you've got hundreds of them, and it's terrible, really. So this was amazing. I thought, wow, this is fantastic. Everyone has that one friend who just doesn't like to see you happy for some reason, and very unimpressed. And there are no people in them. It's like, well, yes, obviously it would be nice to have some candid photos of the Beatles in rehearsal or something, but I mean, they're still pretty good. I was still quite excited. And actually, how wrong can you be? Because of course there are people in them. There's the people who took the photos. If we look at them again more closely, somebody behind the camera made a decision about this image that look like they're following the kind of traditional rules of composition. The fact they don't have people in them, unless you count the horses, that is a decision they've made. So we can, sort of think about it. Well, somebody took them, and they obviously have very traditional tastes. Maybe we can work something out about these people. And again, it's not quite sure there's no people in them, because in the second photo, just there, you can see what appears to be a car. And I'll just enhance that image for you. Stretching it. It actually looks less like a car now than it did before. But it's clearly a car. So, fairly traditional tastes. They're taking photos that want them to look nice. Armed with this information, I thought I would do a bit of detective work and see how much I could find out based on my tiny amount of information. And in my world, of course, there's a mystery, which is why didn't they develop them? What happened to these people to make them leave the photos in the camera for 60 years? What might I be able to find out? So detective work, in my case, involves just going onto Twitter in a very lazy way. Okay, people, here's photo order 2. Does anyone recognise these horses? I actually thought I'd go viral. I thought I'd get on the local news. That's tumbleweed, for those of you who can't see it clearly. So I tried again. No one's seen it, oi. And that's like tagging people, including people who've actually spoken here, in fact. Pay attention, here's the first photo. I ask again, does anyone recognise these horses? Because capital letters always works. Now, I thought it was quite clear that when I said, does anyone recognise these horses, I thought it was very obvious that I meant what species of horse it is, because if it's from a certain part of the country, that might give us another valuable clue as to where the photo was taken, maybe who took it, whatever. The writer Cole Morton, who is a caliber person who follows me on Twitter. That's Bob on the left. Don't know the other one. Okay. Well, finally, some real information, because as we all know, Bob the horse died in 1969. So that fits in with what we know about the possibly the 1960s or something. Okay, so I tried again. I pursued. Okay, people, are you ready for this? Photo 2 of 2. Does anyone recognise this bridge? And this, a flurry of responses. I'm going to suggest it's the West Street Bridge and Blandford Forum going over the River Stour, shot from the south bank on the west side. Okay. Another one. Looks like a bridge from Blandford to Blandford St Mary. Getting a Blandford consensus. You see, that's the title of the talk. Okay. Well, 2 people's consensus. Okay. I did my own bit of Googling. I think Blandford, it's clearly the same bridge. We don't need to look any further. We've found the bridge. So, yeah, thank you. Bridge looks like a few in the Wareham area of Dorset. Don't spoil my fun. We've found the bridge. We don't need any more facts, any more information. We're in the post-truth era. We don't need people to offer alternatives. So, a bit more challenging. Can anyone have a stab at identifying this car? Then maybe we get a date for the photos. And amazingly, possibly a Mark III Ford Zodiac. Fits in with the dates. Yeah, I mean, it's clearly, how could anybody question that it's obviously the same car. So, there we go. What have we learned on this journey? Possibly Bob the Horse, maybe between 1962 and 1970, maybe the River Stour, perhaps the Ford Zodiac. Not very impressive, really, is it? But I think of this as a happy and a sad story, really. It's happy because we released these images from their darkness, but sad because I never did get to find out who took them or indeed anything really concrete at all. How sad. It's quite nice to think in a way that whoever took it, we never knew who it was, but they will never know really that they're on my wall. Yeah. So all those decades later. So that's quite nice, really. And as for the other mystery of why didn't they develop them, well, I think it's probably something as simple as colour film came along, better cameras, and this one just got left behind in an attic or something. What's the point of going to all the trouble of developing that when there's the exciting new technology of 36 exposure films? So that's really it, really. I normally ramble on for way over the time, but this was actually running a bit short, which is, I promised myself I would stick to time, so that's a personal achievement. Then I did have a bit of an idea. I thought, what if the camera still works? But I'm afraid I'll have to wait for more about that. So that's been the Blandford Consensus. Thank you for your attention.